Welcome to the weigh-in. Let's see what we got today. You know the format. We're gonna hop on Twitter and see what everybody's talking about. Okay. Man, boy was mostly saw. I'm talking about. I don't even know what the hell that says about. Let's see here. Gypsy King was. I'll take care of Johnny Bones Jones first, then come after Tyson Fury. This is Francis Ngannou. The Gypsy King would smash you to pieces. He's almost ended Deontay Wilder's existence. What would he do to you? I feel like this guy's kind of like a troll account. I don't know. I could be wrong. But Francis Ngannou and Tyson Fury, I feel like that's gonna happen. Like that's pretty. That just makes a lot of sense, especially because of Francis' style. He just hits so hard that people would really buy into him beating Tyson Fury. And if he hits him, maybe, you know what I mean? But that's the same thing Deontay Wilder, right? And I think Deontay Wilder might be a little more skilled with his hands than Francis is. But I think that fight sells. I think that's like eventually will happen. If it's not Tyson Fury, it's going to be whoever's champ. And if it's Deontay Wilder is champ somehow at that point, which a lot of people believe that he might get the next shot at Fury, not Joshua. That'd be insane. That'd be like first guy lands, kills. You know what I mean? But that fight could happen. Like that's not. It makes sense to me, like style wise, and I think you could sell it as it might be close. Pacquiao Crawford isn't dead. It was never alive to begin with. That's true. I said that from the beginning. Every time someone brings up Pacquiao and Saudi Arabia money or money from some desert place, it's not gonna happen. It's not real. It's the weirdest thing that Pacquiao, one of the biggest stars in boxing, right, still sells. And for some reason, we can't get money to pay for his fights. Like, I don't know if he's outpricing himself or people are outpricing themselves with Pacquiao. I don't know what it is. There should be some money there to get a fight happening, but it seems like it's impossible. I do not buy any Pacquiao rumor anymore. It's not going to happen. Every time Pacquiao in a place with desert with money. Let's see here. I mean, I feel like we should probably talk about Logan Paul Mayweather, which dropped yesterday. And you knew it was happening. You knew they were. I had my doubts, like whether it would really go through, but I mean, it's happening, and Showtime's picking it up. And what do I think about it? I mean, I think it's stupid. I think it's a spectacle. It's not the same thing like with the Jake Paul fight because Jake Paul's fighting like levels to his level, right? Or someone that is supposed to be his level, I guess. And then Logan Paul's fighting the best fighter in the world at one point, right? Or he probably isn't anymore, but still, and I know it's exhibition and everything like that, but I just I don't get the fight. Like I don't get the curiosity to it because we've seen Logan Paul lose to a YouTuber, so it's not like it's not like he has the Jake Paul effect on him, right? Like where like he hits harder. He doesn't. Logan Paul kind of sucks at like it really really sucks. Not kind of. He really sucks at boxing. Like he's very stiff. He has no skill. He has no like technique. He likes to try to jab, but it's not very good. It's like it's just like the guy at the bar that watches Mayweather fight. It's like, oh, I could beat him up, right? I guess this is to prove that. So in a way, like that's what these things prove. It's like with these YouTube boxing and all these events and MMA versus YouTuber and all this, it's just like at the lowest level, and it's easier to break something down when you watch at the lowest level. Like if you teach someone something, you would show them the lowest level of it, like 1-2 and move forward and move backwards like that. It's easier to see, right? So it's easier to show points in boxing, right? Like why the mistake a guy makes, like don't pull straight back with your hands down, right? And Jake Paul throws like the 1-2. Why it doesn't even have to be a good 1-2 for it to be effective when someone does that. So it's like simple stuff. And I guess what this is going to show is just like, hey, guy at the bar who's 200 pounds, Mayweather would still beat the hell out of you. And I don't expect Mayweather to do it right away, like in this fight, because Mayweather doesn't care about anyone but himself. He doesn't care about boxing. He doesn't care about the fans. He doesn't care about anything. He cares that, like, it's gonna be like a work, like in WWE, right? Sometimes WWE, like, they do something where they bring a guy that's like, they'll do like this skit where it's like Shane McMahon or a guy from the crowd, right? And then he'll go in there with the best guy. Even like an actor, they'll bring him in and he'll go in there with like one of the best guys, one of the best wrestlers, right? Big guy. And then the guy will work with him and he'll make it look like a competitive match, right? It kind of makes no sense for the storyline of WWE or whatever, but they do that. And some of the guys that are really good can make the work look like a very good match. And that's like kind of what Floyd did with Conor. Whether people want to admit that or not, or I think people are closer to admitting it now, you hear it more, is that Floyd carried Conor to make it look like a competitive fight so people didn't say, well, what the hell did I waste my money for, right? He didn't want to hear that. And then he said, like, you think I'm boring? Well, I'm gonna knock this guy out. So you can't say I wasn't aggressive, right? He did all those things that, in his mind, it was a perfect storyline, whatever. I think it kind of like backfired against like boxing a little bit, and a little bit towards him because it looked like Conor was like competitive with him. But if you really knew, like, I feel like if you really knew what you're looking at and you were being honest with yourself, you would say Conor was never in that fight and Floyd was just letting him work. I think he might do the same thing with Logan Paul, honestly. I think he's gonna let him hit him on the arms and everything, and depending how, I think he was gonna do the same thing when he went to go fight in Japan and he knocked the guy out in the first round, right? It depends on what, if the guy lands a good shot and he just gets pissed about it, or he says, it's okay, I'm gonna put it on him. But I think he's gonna work with Logan a few rounds. I think he'll carry him a few rounds and then put pressure on him late and stop him. That's what's gonna happen. Floyd doesn't care about like what Floyd should do, and I think it sells just as much as if he goes and blows these guys out in one round. I think that sells as much as anything else, right? I think people want to see that. I think people want to see that him put a beating on this guy. I don't think that people want to see him move around with Logan Paul for 5 rounds. I don't think anyone's interested in that. People are going to watch it. I'm probably going to watch it. You know what I mean? I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it. It's going to sell, right? I don't know if it's going to do the numbers of people. Someone said 3 million buys. It's not going to do that. It won't do that. And Showtime's not going to lie about what it did. But I don't know. It's just, it is what it is, right? It's just, if there's money for it, like people are saying, like, does this show the state of boxing? And it's like, Jake Paul is the biggest star in MMA right now. Every top MMA fighter is calling out Jake Paul. Or Jake Paul's calling them out and they're going back and forth, right? This is a conversation. Every MMA show is having Jake Paul on there right now, right? Not boxing, really. Like boxing, they talk about it. He's not really in the boxing realm. It's funny. He's like still in the MMA realm. If it makes money, it's going to sell. Like that's it. It's if like I said that comparison before. If Tom Cruise said he got signed by the Jets tomorrow, right? They were having football games tomorrow, Sunday football. And Tom Cruise was playing on the Jets. He was playing quarterback. It'd be the most watched game of the day, of the year, of the past 10 years. People were watching Tom Cruise play football. It doesn't mean football's struggling. It just means that people like the spectacle of it all. That's what we're getting with it. I think Floyd's going to put a beating on him. Like, and he's going to whenever he's going to. But it might take a few rounds for him to dance around. Make it look like a show. He wants to feel for some reason like he didn't, like he's getting his money's worth. But I don't think that helps boxing. I don't know. And another thing happened. It was Canelo, right? They asked Canelo if they fought in their prime. Him and Floyd fought in their prime. Who would win? And Canelo said that Floyd wouldn't have anything for him. And of course he's gonna say that. And I know people are like, "Well, Floyd, we beat him, whatever." Floyd beat him real young, like really, really young. It's a double standard. Everybody talks about double standards or whatever. It's a double standard that we count the Canelo fight like a real young, right? But if let's say Mayweather, right, should have lost to Castillo in the first one. But if he would have lost that, people would have been like, well, it was a young Floyd. You know what I mean? He got better from then. You wouldn't put it against him in his prime. You wouldn't. It's stupid. But I think that, I don't know who wins that fight. I don't really like when people say, like, well, he would win him in his prime. Who the hell would know? Everybody's wrong with predictions all the time. How the hell would you know? You got to know when they fight. It's not going to happen. I think that's not I don't think Floyd runs through him like he did when he fought the first time. I don't know. It's going to be a really competitive fight, in my opinion. If I'm breaking it down, it's going to be competitive. There's going to be a lot of things that Canelo could do now they couldn't do in the first fight. That's just, it's common sense. I was just seeing some guys talking about Berlanga, and they were just like, well, he is what he is. And it's like, well, no, he could get better. Now, I don't know if Berlanga's going to be an all-time great or whatever, but he could get better. It's not like, oh, you are with your first fighter. No, it's not. That's not, no one's like that. Charlo's, small Charlo's KO puncher now. He wasn't always a KO puncher. He was like a boxer. He could win decisions. People get better. I don't know, like, I don't understand, like, where people just want to shoot everyone down. Like, if you listen to boxing podcasts, now they just shoot everything down. Like, everything's just so damn negative. I don't get it. I like how, like, when I go on here, there's this, that Canelo interview was very interesting. I always respect Canelo's ability to fight, carries himself well. To put it lightly, I will never be a fan of that dude for various reasons. I don't even, is that steroids? Is that the steroids allegations? Yeah, why? Oh, I'd rather not for the sake of not ranting for an hour. I don't get it. I don't even get why I tweeted then. Probably agree with you, but I like the dude plain and simple regardless. He's a proper man's man. Fair play to you, just not for someone that I can ever root for. Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing it's a steroid use. I'm guessing. The, allegations, he tested positive for the thing that was like a pictogram. And people excuse it for John Jones, won't excuse it for Canelo. It's just like if it's your favorite fighter or not, honestly. Like there's rumors that Floyd would make people get tested, but he wouldn't get tested. I don't know. Like I don't know if any of it's true. It's so muddy. If he lets you fail, and people are saying you failed, and they have it like Big Baby, I believe that. But I can't, hear the little things, the pictograms, whatever. I know John Jones was suspended. I don't remember Canelo ever being suspended. I think they said that it wasn't his hair or whatever it was. I don't know. I can't if he didn't have it, then whatever. But I just feel like if it's your favorite fighter, you find excuses for him. Let's see. Let's keep it moving. I feel like there was like a bunch of posts about boxing and MMA, and now I'm not seeing any. Got one championship. I don't really watch one. I'm more Bellator. I've been getting into Bellator lately. I feel like I don't know why the ranking things helps. I don't know why organizing things always helps, but yeah, I've been getting into Bellator. Who would win this fight at 168? Golovkin or Bivol? I don't get that because Golovkin never fought at 168. So I don't understand why 168. And Bivol, when did he fight at 168? I don't get it. If they met, I don't see. These are just stupid. Like I don't understand these things. If they're not gonna fight, then they ain't gonna fight. I don't feel like the point of discussing it. Let's see, Artman Boxing. So this guy, he goes out and he just speaks for Wilder, and he says that Wilder's gonna fight Fury, and that Joshua fight's never gonna happen. And at first I thought nonsense, right? Nonsense. And I think he's a big fan of Wilder, right? I think he's like number one in the Wilder fan club. So I think that when he says things for Wilder, I mean, I just take it as like a fan saying it, right? But he might be right about this. Like he might be right that this Fury Joshua fight might not happen. It doesn't seem like it's going to happen. And once again, it's that Saudi Arabia money that people are depending on. Bronze Bomber has the same amount of title defenses as the Honorable Muhammad Ali. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua has 7. Tyson Fury his 2-time champ has 0. I think it depends on who you're fighting, though, right? I would say, but I don't know. That guy, he's on his stuff with Wilder. So he's defending him on a daily basis. I wonder does Wilder know who Artman Boxing is? I wonder if he knows that this guy is defending him to the grave. Someone should tweet. I don't know. Has he ever tweeted him? Has he ever retweeted him? I don't. That'd probably make that guy's day. Ramos and Omar Figueroa are coming off losses against me. Oh, you guys. They are two exciting fighters, and on Saturday they will surely have a great war. You guys is interesting. In a lot of rumors, he's fighting Spence next, and I don't know why that hasn't been announced. I don't know if they're like waiting to announce the Fox fights coming up. You guys is really good, and he has a kind of style that where like it could look good against certain opponents and then not look that great against other opponents. Like where he's always winning, but sometimes it comes off maybe like boring or everything. He just has that style. But when he fights a really elite guy like Spence, he can really step it up probably. I would really like to see that fight. And it'd be nice for him to get that shot because I don't feel like he may never earn it with popularity, but he can earn it by like winning, just keep winning. And that's what he's been doing. And now he has a claim to a belt, which I believe is WBA belt. And that's how you use the belts. I don't think if you're like Spence, there's no need for the belts. I don't understand. If you're Ryan Garcia, there's no need for the belts. If you're Tank Davis, who cares about the belts? You're going to sell by your name. But a guy you guys, he's not going to get a shot unless he has a belt. So it's funny that if he has the belts mean more to him than they should to Spence. But if they don't mean anything to Spence, then the belt is useless to you guys. So strange. It's strange how it works in boxing. It's strange how we haven't fixed that. Let's see. I just don't get like. I gotta hit home again. It's gotta hit home again. Let's see here. They ordered Gary Russell Jr. versus Ray Vargas at 126 WBC title. Boxing fans win on this one. They do. Ray Vargas hasn't fought in forever though. Like he has not fought in forever. But when he does fight, he has a very hard style. Like he's very hard to hit. He jumps in with shots. He jumps all the way out. He's kind of fast with his feet. And Gary Russell is all around talented at everything. In fast hands, technically very good. Very great fight, 126. The only other guy probably with these guys, other two guys, Navarrete and Leo Santa Cruz, who moved to 130, but I don't think he's really a 130 fighter. This is a great fight. This is a fight that I'm very excited to see. It's probably not going to be like a big deal with like, the general audience, but boxing fans know that's a really good fight. Let's see. The UFC has announced that the coach of next season tough will be Dr. Fauci and Joe Rogan. Hardy, har. Let's see here. See here. I'm happy to announce that after a brief discussion that Ben Askren and I are back on being friends. I don't know what the hell cares about that. Canelo says 2018 started off as his worst year when he was accused of doping, but ended up being his best year when he beat Triple G. He wanted to cut Triple G's head off when he accused Canelo of doping. He felt it was disrespectful, and he always been respectful towards Triple G. That's a steroids thing with the doping thing with Canelo. I could have swore he was proven innocent on that, but I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. These things, like, who follows these things? Like, who knows if, like, who's following up with these cases and being like, this one's legit, this one isn't, right? I just know that Big Baby, right, failed, I believe, twice or three times, and he had no defense for it. Like, he was out of boxing. There was no defense. There was no other thing. Why did it affect him and then it doesn't affect the other guys? And I guess you would say because Canelo's a big name. But Big Baby had like a big fight with Joshua. It wasn't like it wasn't hurting the boxing game, right? Or he was going to go on ESPN to set him up for Tyson Fury. It wasn't like it wasn't going to affect the boxing game. Let's see here. Because I'm saying the Tyson Fury Nagano's, it makes sense. It makes sense to me. I don't know if Dana will go with that. I really don't. Let's see here. I do want to say this. Okay. So there were the Floyd on June 6th, Miami, right? He's going to fight Logan Paul. And then Mike Coppinger. And no one likes Mike Coppinger. I'm not sure why. I didn't like the whole thing he has with Ariel Helwani. I feel like he comes off as a bad guy in that. But I don't know. I don't take it as like I don't like one or not. I just take it for like what it is. Like the Artman boxing, I think sometimes he's annoying about the stuff he says about Dante Wilder. So sometimes the way he takes on boxing, I'm just like don't agree with. But when he's right, I'm gonna be like, oh, it turns out he was right. Like I don't understand to be like, no, I don't want him to be right. Right? Mike Coppinger said that Flo was gonna fight Logan Paul. He confirmed it. Now we all had rumors, but he had a date. He said June 5th. Right? He said it was gonna happen. And he said he was going to fight him, and he said that Floyd had to weigh no more than 160, and Logan couldn't weigh any more than 190. Then everybody was like, Leonard Albee was like, you're crazy, I don't know what you're talking about. And it was something about, it's going to be, it's the PBC's using it. It's going to be on Showtime, he said. And he said the PBC was using it to get a bigger deal with CBS or Showtime or whatever the deal they're trying to do. And Ellerby said all this stuff came against it, and everybody started laughing at Coppinger and disagreeing with him. And then it ended up being on June 6th. And people were like, Mike Coppinger's a dumbass. It was one day. He was right. The fight was happening on Showtime. One day off. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't get it. I don't get, like, maybe you don't like him. Okay, that's fine. But he was right about this. I mean, no one else had it. No one else was reporting it. So I don't understand. Like, he was off one day. It's like if he says like they had to be no more than 190 and no more than 160, and then so the guy comes out and says no more than 161, no more than 191, and they're like, Coppinger, you dumbass. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. I don't the hate they have for this man. And I don't hate for no one. I don't agree with everyone once in a while. You know what I mean? I don't agree with some guys or I don't like their takes. But if they're right, they're right. And I got Mike Coppinger. I'm gonna give you your credit. You're right. And some guy called me a mark for saying that, but I don't know. Calling someone right when they're right, I don't know how that makes me a mark. He was right. I mean, that's it. I don't know if he doesn't have sources. He had that information. I don't know what sources. I don't have any sources, but he had that information. And if I said something and it ended up being right, then I don't know. I want my credit, even if I don't have sources. So I don't. Yeah, Mike Coppinger. He kind of does have a face though that people don't like. I get that part. I will get that part, but he was right, and I'm gonna give you your credit. Let's see here. Logan Paul got Areola versus Ruiz this weekend, and It's just a fun fight. I understand people saying it shouldn't be on pay-per-view, and probably shouldn't be on pay-per-view. But they feel like they can sell Ruiz on pay-per-view. They feel like he's that kind of star. And he did have the whole world likes attention, right? And now that he's in shape, it's a selling point, and Ariel is a fun fight. Can fun fights be on pay-per-view? Like, why not? If it's guaranteed war, right? People are going to be entertained. I think people will pay for that. But we're going to see. We're going to find out if Ruiz can sell. He was one of the biggest stars of boxing for like at least 3 months span. He was one of the biggest stars of boxing. They want to bring that back. I feel like if he gets enough wins and there's a fight with Wilder there, right? I think that could be a huge fight and he could still be a huge star in boxing. It just depends on him, how serious he takes it, and how he looks. And that's going to be a good fight, however long it lasts. There's a Wilder training. He's with Malik Scott now, who's was a pro heavyweight fighter. And I know people were saying this looks really good, and I always thought Wilder had skill. I just thought that he does. There's some skill there, obviously, if he's setting up these big shots. I thought people were saying like, oh, I can't do this and this. He has mistakes for sure, but he has skill to set up the shots. He always had that. And the people were saying this looks really good. This to me looks exactly like Deontay Wilder's always looked. I'm sure they're adding little things to his game, whatever, but it's not like I was like, oh wow, he's all skilled now. No, I didn't see that. This is what Wilder looks like, and he's good at setting up a shot. He's good at setting up his big right hand. There's no doubt about that. So this is how he's always looked to me. I'm not seeing anything new here. I've been effed over, left for dead, dissed and forgotten. Luck ran out. They hoped that I'd be gone, stiff and rotten. Y'all just piss on me, shit on me, and spit on my grave. Talk about the laugh behind my back, in my face. Y'all some well wishers, friendly acting, envy hiding snakes. So I'm guessing that's from like a song or something. But I like Deontay Wilder. I always did, and I always thought that he was more skilled than people give him credit for. But I think that people are overreacting off of this footage right here. It just looks like Deontay Wilder, and I think that he's gonna be better because he worked. He worked his game. He's always in shape. He's gonna be better in the next fight. But to say like this shows you something, showing you something different, like extremely different. Nah, it's exactly what Deontay Wilder's always been doing. Watch him hit pads. This is exactly how he hits pads. He just needs to work on like his balance more, I think. But I don't know. This is exactly what I see. I didn't see this one was like, oh, this is a whole new look for him. It looked exactly like what I've been seeing. Let's see. Bivol, I need undisputed champion. Bivol could be one of the biggest wasted talents in boxing. Like, and for some reason I didn't appreciate him. I thought maybe he was like boring, whatever. And then you gotta like sometimes sit down and watch these guys. And Bivol is just super talented. Could do it all. The problem with these guys is they don't. And maybe it's not his fault, right? He's in the wrong side of the street, and the guy he needs to fight is on the other side of the street. But these guys need to capture the imagination of fans. That's what it is. And what you can learn from like Jake Paul, right? And like, why is he such a big star and everything? Because he had a plan, but he had to capture the imagination of fans, right? The imagination of like, what could he be? Can he really beat top MMA guys in boxing? That's the whole gimmick. And then once that runs out, it'll be like, can he actually compete in boxing? And he'll get a fight with like a legit boxer, whatever level it will be. He'll fight it if he can beat enough of the MMA guys. As soon as he loses, it's over, right? As soon as he loses, unless he loses to like Masvidal or Conor in a close fight, right? Then maybe. But as soon as he loses and gets smoked, it's over. The whole ride's over. But that's what he did. He captured the imagination. These guys don't ever capture imagination. They think that if they keep winning against guys that no one knows, suddenly someone's going to notice them. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You got to take chances. Bivol, unfortunately, right, there's no one there to fight. You might have to go up and wait. You might have to starve yourself to go down and wait. You got to take chances. You're going to have to take a pay cut to fight someone. You got to capture the imagination of people. And they don't do it. And then they wonder why they never got the chance. Right? Andrade, take a pay cut to fight someone. I understand that doesn't make sense. But if you really want to do it in boxing, if you're glad where you're at, then stay where you're at. But if you really want to do it, you got to take a pay cut. Got to go up and wait. Got to take some chances in this game. And I don't feel like they do that. I don't feel like no one's really doing that, especially like Bivol, Andrade, all these guys. And they just want the big fight. And sometimes it happens. Sometimes you're Billy Joe Sanders, and that happens. The big fight actually happens for you. And just by you not really even doing much, just beating the normal guy, but that's rare, right? And it better make sense with what the other guy's trying to do. Bivol, I don't know what happens, but he better start taking some chances. Some chances. All right, let me end it on this. After realizing Hearn was full of shit, Fury and Arum flew to California to meet with arbitrator to see if both parties can smooth out their differences before the ruling is made. A switch to negotiation is possible. So Arum said that, right? Well, there's definitely arbitration. I know he's saying there ain't no arbitration. Like if people were saying that, there's definitely arbitration. I think we all heard that. I didn't know anything about it. I don't know who's getting their sources on what's actually happening in there because I haven't heard anything from what's happening in there. So I don't believe anyone has sources. I think a lot of speculation on what's going on in there. Now, I think Arum, whether he has to fight Wilder, right? And then that's the way that the arbitration is going, and he sees that, and then this is like his way of making that happen. Or Eddie Hearn can't get the money, which maybe he can't in Saudi Arabia, right? He can't get the money for the fight. I feel like we'll know that soon. Whatever. I don't know who's right and wrong in this situation, right? I feel like a lot of people wanted Wilder to get the fight, and I feel like it could happen now. It looks like more possible. And now a lot of people are going to claim that they knew all along. I don't believe that. I don't believe they knew all along. I'm going to give credit for being right. You said that, and that's what happened. Then you're right. But I don't think he had some kind of inside information. Okay, I don't think everyone had inside information. I haven't heard anyone report on arbitration, really. Not one person. Like a legit journalist that I respect report on arbitration. Because I don't think there's any information coming out of there. Like, I don't think there's any information you can get inside of that. So I don't know what's happening with that. But there's a reason why Deontay Wilder doesn't have a fight set up. He must be waiting to see how that goes out. And there's a reason, for some reason, Fury and Joshua can't get the fight done. Because there's probably no money where everybody thinks they're going to get money. I don't know. That's where I'm going to leave it at. That's where I'm going to leave this podcast at. This has been The Weigh-In. Thanks for listening.